Mic check. Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Before we get going, I'm just setting up a couple things. And 3 title names. 2 of them we are not going to be trading. 1 of them we are already in, and everything else we are just going to figure out as we go. So let's just go look at the top movers. As you guys know, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Everything in this video contains only my opinion and is for entertainment purposes only. Just trying to make a little bit of money while showing you guys the process that I go by. But at the end of the day, I'm only one vote. I'm just a guy, and I'm definitely not perfect. So top mover on the day is actually a company that I'm pretty sure is profitable. That is a big key. Let's see if we have any daily levels off of this. Over top of the start of this gap, but opened right at the bottom of these lows. So I kind of want to watch that first 15-minute candle, see how it does. Looks like we have an earnings play, actually a significant beat both ways. If this were to come on in, so if I wanted to, I could set an alert somewhere right off of this line. So just like that, just set an alert there. This S&P, this was one that halted at the end of the day yesterday. MF, looks like possibly some sort of downtrend, a descending channel right here, give or take something like this. Gapping up on top of it for right now, but in this scenario, I kind of like waiting for that first 15-minute candle to show me something. IMP, retracing down, retesting this high right here. This is actually one that I'd like to see play with this gap up, and why I'm going to show you is because we're dealing with a positive break on a daily. So you see how we're rejecting up. These big players are around this middle ground. That's how I always say it. You can see the U build right here. You don't have any lows, you just have these tops. You do have this one low right here. So you could mark the wick lows. So we haven't made contact with that 330, but I'd say this also goes up into the bottom body of this candle. Maybe you can mark this wick top. So those are all profit takes on something. So I marked this 310 originally because if this were some sort of retracement, I'm just going to mark the wick tops through the wick bottoms. And you can see that 310 right there is why I marked it. Rejecting that half right now. If this is a true retracement play, I'm pretty confident I can get it to that 702 at 350. Let's see, Disney playing with this 90 level. This 90 level is a big level on Disney. You can see the gap up right above this. You can call this a neckline because you make a run and then you confirm this low. These 85s confirmed. And I like the earnings report on Disney, but another big part is you're getting a positive break right here. We've already got our position built out on Disney. For those of you that have been following the channel, we've actually been long Disney on a small position since before the earnings report over here, and we were very patient on this. This is why when you get a clean negative break, I told people, I said, hey, if on this day, because I had already talked about the Disney earnings, I said, if you do not want to be long Disney, sell it right now, because this is a clean gap down through a trend line at the time. Clean gap down through a trend line. Just get out and wait for your strength to come back. Well, if you were just patient, you see right here on this green candle day, we were buyers of Disney. A neckline break, getting close to that positive break. When it comes back in, I believe a couple days in here, we were also buyers of Disney as well. Just playing the support level. You can see the support level dates all the ways back to 2014. And that's we were just respecting that level. So now that it's starting to catch a bid, it's rejecting that 90 for now. There's no need for us to sell it, especially with positive strength that we're getting this. If this were to make a run even up to here, we'll be able to hold this for a long time. Here's a great example of a positive break. This is what I think the potential is if it plays out how I think. You see from the positive break to the top, is when you're starting to slope down, here's your negative break, a break of 100. So that's what I'm hoping to get with Disney. Even if it comes all the ways back in, for all I know, it gives out 85s. We'll be a buyer at the 80 flat and maybe in the 70s. So I'm not saying that this is a home run, can't be wrong type of thing, but I like the earnings report. I thought there was a lot of positives, and the free cash flow was a huge increase, and that's music to my ears. Uh, of course, just my opinion. Baba, the other title name, I've only been able to skim through the earnings report, but when you're talking about putting up 240 EPS on 32 billion of revenue at 98 bucks, I mean if they were paying a dividend for what the EPS that they just put out, their dividend, let's just say they put up 250 a quarter, that's $10 a EPS a year that pays off your investment in 10 years. So that's kind of how I match up EPS if I was just going off a first glance. But obviously, it's a very complicated business. So every single business is broken down, and it's very hard to understand the true business of it. So it's a long earnings report. So I'm not going to go into specific details of what Baba has done. And like I said, I've only skimmed through it. MULN is one that we got into at the end of the day yesterday. We're playing around with this 11 level, and simply why we were playing around with it and why we didn't get stopped out on this red candle. Normally I would stop out on this red candle right here. But we identified a downtrend right here, and we were playing the back test of this downtrend. So even though it gave out these wick lows, one, we had a support level, two, we had a neckline that we were still above, and three, we were still above this downtrend. So I said, hey, we're gonna hold this one into the close and see what it can do. Now getting a gap up, we have no outs on the name because, like I said, getting a fresh positive break on a 15. And if this is able to catch a bid and leave a green candle on today's trading day, I think that I can get it into these wick lows, which is up at 12 cents. So I'm looking to get a whole cent on this name. But if I'm being honest, at 11 half, I will try to take a piece off. I could have right at the open, but I was getting the stream set up. I'm not blaming you guys. I'm just uh, calling it like I was planning. So back to the top movers, EDBL. You can see puts a wick up above one of these lines that we put down. Let's go back to the daily and see why we put that. Pretty much just this top, and this runs over to this previous low right here. On an earnings play, I haven't looked at the earnings, so it's tough for me to say whether or not we want to try that. Notable move, Baba is making a push. It looks like we got very close to this gap fill right here. 110 or 110 cent is what we're looking at there. Lumen, this was another buy that we had yesterday on the live stream, around that 175 level, somewhere in this candle right here. We held it. We said, hey, that's an ascending channel. Until it breaks this little channel to the downside or upside, we're going to just sit on our hands with it. Well, now we're kind of putting in this nice green candle off the open through this ascending channel that we have drawn, and getting a nice slope up on strength. Hopefully we can get this to move just a wee bit higher on the day. Show me that, hey, we can get on top of this ascending channel. Other than that, Baba continuing strength here, filled the 110 cent gap. So we'll see if we can get some more continuation with that. I think the true breakout level on this name is going to be that 105. But the bodies of the candles is 103.50, give or take. The breakout is above that wick high. So call it a 105. We'll see how strong Baba truly wants to be. And we will actually think about, having some smaller cuts on the name if this can show up to 118. But the big part of this, I'd say you have a nice ascending channel right here. It hasn't been able to come down to the bottom end of this. But if it can fight over top of this 105, you're also getting a channel break towards the upside as well. So that is the update. Normally I try to find something before I start live streaming. Normally H&H Trader is also live streaming, so we normally don't try not to stream at the same time. But Uh, Normally I'd probably already have tried to trade on something, but it's a little different when you're on live stream trying to find a brand new position. I'm not gonna lie. You know, that may sound weird, but it definitely is. So looking around some more, looking at some losers on the day. S&MP. This is also one that I was interested in at the halt price yesterday. It halted right here, came in, never came in the 450. We were trying to go off that 450 level. Well, now candle number three. So are the buyers going to come in? Is this going to try to set a new high? I'm just going to set an alert underneath 520. So if that alerts us, we'll see what's going on. Plug. This is a name that we played right in around this level, actually, if you want me to be honest. But we had plenty of outs to the upside. Kind of gives you that double top feel. Uh, Looks like a miss on EPS, a beat on revenue. Honestly, in that scenario, I would favor the EPS side. I would rather than be more profitable and miss on the revenue side of things. If I'm just being honest, looking at some more losers on the day. Docs, I'm going to keep an eye on Docs every single day. But strength just isn't there yet. I want to see this support level over here hold. See what else we got. Forward, we are getting closer and closer to the forward. I haven't really changed anything whether this downtrend's legit or not. But I think this gap fill is where we're going to be starting to buy back forward. We had an 11 something entry that we were playing with, trimmed it all the ways up into the 15s, and we've been patient holding a piece. So we've held this piece all the ways back in and through a negative break. I actually even like the report for Ford. When you can put 72 cents of EPS for a $12.50 company, that's saying something. They also had some pretty significant growth as well. So Ford, I think, is getting closer to that point, and we will probably have an order off right off of that 1240 gap. Let me drink some coffee. The voice is getting closer. I haven't gotten my voice back completely yet, but definitely getting closer. End phase. We talked about end phase. I think as close to this support level down here as you can get it. Maybe you can start a little bit early in those middle 120s. That wick low right there is a 127 half. I think if you get into this range right here, I don't care what the strength is. I think it's a legitimate long. If you're actually committed to that long. I can't promise you that, hey, this window is going to be the bottom. It is a very hard thing to bottom pick. For anybody who is experienced in trading, I think they'll be able to testify to that as well. But I will be playing this support level down here, and if it goes lower, I think we have a 106 gap right here. I'm at 105.70, but I believe the gap is at 106 something. Okay, so now let's go and find something. We're getting into 2 minutes left before this next candle starts. FVRR, still just holding this. I mean, this was another earnings play over the vacation where we actually love the earnings report on this name. And we were actually tempted to buy more on the 32 break, but we said, hey, we have a decent position. Let's just settle in. Respecting this neckline at 30, even though it closed a little bit below it yesterday, gapping up and now putting in the start of a green candle. Hasn't gotten fully over this red engulfing candle, and it still needs to fill this gap right here. But if you're looking at the strength, holding the strength near that middle ground is a big indicator for me. Whether it can continue holding it or not, I like the look of it holding that level. Invax is right at a trend line, so we are going to keep an eye on Invax, but strength isn't quite there. I would expect some shorts to be sitting in near these lows right here, and you also have your 21 and 34 sitting right there. Looking at some of the names I wrote down from last night as well, we're going to go the Bristol Meyer. Another trend line play. We can get rid of this. But looking at the daily, getting a gap up over that, strength is getting closer. So if it wants to respect this trend line now, I'll have to go to a monthly chart here. And you can see the long-term trend line from basically existence. And here we are right on the trend line. So that is going to be one that we keep an eye on. BNS, this is a support play. You can see the support that's trying to hold. Here's your pull for a bear flag. Here's your upside down U. It's a frowny face. So we're actually looking for this to make a leg down into those middle 40s down here. Now keep in mind this is a monthly chart. If we go to the daily chart, you can see the support that's trying to hold right here. You got the earnings coming up, but I would say that you're getting fair value for this play. I think a lot of the banks have a lot of good value, but up 1.25% off of this sort of trend line right here could be something there. If this were to eventually get over 51 or maybe even 52, I think that you would see it try to develop this into some sort of channel or maybe a wedge pattern. But up here, I mean 55, if it were to catch a bid, that could be some extension level. Excuse me. That could be some extension level up to the 55 flat. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Alibaba continuation off of that initial push right there. Starting a second green candle, doesn't need to pull back into the middle of this green candle. It's right around where this gap is at, that 110 right there. That's where we're at pretty much right now. And then you have one more gap right here, which is probably a breakout level around that 103 potentially, if you're looking at it as a trade. Nickel has 7 hold. We said that, hey, if this can come back down to our original entry around 150, we can play these tops over here as well. But I have not forgotten about nickel, and we're still holding a small piece. Same with Xeola from our 490 entry. Xeola also could be a trend line type of play. 1, 2, 3 points of contact. As we are getting closer to that 4th point of contact, call it a 5 flat. It doesn't look half bad, if I'm being completely honest. Invax continuing up to those 750s, but is the trend line, this is only really the 3rd point of contact with it, is the trend line going to be able to hold something there? So let me take a look at some stuff and we'll go from there. I'm going to find something. The MULN, I haven't been paying attention to it at all, but as long as it's above 11, which it's at that 50. I said that 50 half, but you can see this green candle that's coming in. You had an indecision candle on the first one. Doesn't have the weakness of coming back in. And the reason why we even wanted to play this, now, getting the breakout right now, so I could go take a piece, but this is a healthy green candle, a lot of candle left. I expect a lot of volume. If anybody got short off that open, we are going to go take a piece of MULN. We'll take off 1/16 of this MULN trade and ring the register right off the rip. There's a lot of size on the bid right here, so I'm going to really try and get up to those, just a little bit more of a push. And there it's continuing the push. That it took out a little bit of size there, so let's just take a piece off right there. Clean profit off of an 11 flat, and our fill should have came in at 76 at least. So we got 1176 on that fill. First profit take on MULN. Let's see if we can just go on the ask right at like 1195 for 130. How do you say that? 132nd of a position. And see if we can go right off of those 95s, which I think right before that 12, it seems reasonable to me. So let's take off 132nd of the position. I don't say that too often, but this is a pretty decent look right here. So I don't want to be too aggressive selling this, because if this wanted to absolutely rip, I want to have this golden entry off of 11 right here. So we're gonna go a limit order right off of that. 1195 is where this limit order is gonna go in at. And if we can ring the register there, we will gladly ring the register. Let's look at our top volume real quick. Disney, I look at it as a rejection of 90 for right now. It opens up here and pushes up to 91, but 90 was that big level, so not out of the woods yet. If this gets back over 90 at some point today, you could say that 89.5 is a better level, but I still got to see it over. Oh, and Baba really catching a bid right here. Really catching a bid. I'm gonna put a lot more time into looking through that earnings report, but to me, I think it trades at a clear premium, a clear discount, and that's obviously my opinion. And I know there's a lot more risk that goes into it than just looking at the financials. I understand that, but really showing some strength out of the gate right here. And from just a few of the numbers that I've looked at, yeah, we're pushed out right up to 101, and MULN getting some continuation here as well. Let's see if we can get this 1195 fill. Take a look at this MF. Showing the second candle for continuation to the downside. Does it find a way? I don't really see too many areas for it to really catch a bid off of this. And over here, I really don't either. So this would make me think that, hey, that this is still trading inside of this downtrend. Something like this, whether it's perfect or not, it definitely isn't perfect, but something like that. So it's got to show me that it's going to break this downtrend before I even think about something with this name. Ababa over 101, showing very good strength and good continuation. The next gap I got is 102.13, and you can see the ascending channel build right here, whether it's perfect or not, something like this, where that 105 is meeting up with this resistance over here. So are we going to be able to push up towards that 105 level? I don't know. Let me take a look. I'm just looking through the scrolling through the port and seeing what type of names we got. And we still do have this small piece of plug. To be honest with you guys, I've been holding this knife on this name, coming right in near this original entry. I have entries from 950 all the ways up to 10. Uh, Maybe we can just try a stop. We'll give it a chance to hold this 9, but we're not going to give it any more than that. We're going to go 895. If that stops us out, it stops us out. But if it retraces up maybe to the bottom of this candle right here, which is 10, this is going to be an area where I'm going to say, hey, we're getting out of this name. Because strength just isn't there. The earnings, a big gap down on earnings, the odds of it just shooting straight up from here, I think it's got to work some stuff out personally. I could just cut it right now if I wanted to, but we're going to run the stop and see if we can catch this a bid to the upside. We'll go 898 right there. Stop is in, and we'll go from there. MULN, coming all the ways back, and this is why I wanted to get at least one print. So we do have a print up at the top end of this quick at 76 is 1176. Maybe it needs to pull back in all the ways to the gap up. But I think it looks fine to continue holding it for right now. Personal opinion. And still leaving this green engulfing candle look, but it's very volatile inside this candle. We have 5 minutes left for this to really decipher. I'd love to see it close above this wick of the first candle. Baba still showing some continuation at the day's high. Uh, I would be surprised if it didn't at least attempt to fill that gap right here up at 102.13. Disney got very close to this gap. How does it act when it fills this 87.50? TMC, couple nice looking candles right there. Not a ton of volume. It has a little bit of volume. There's a little bit of volume. Let's see what our daily chart's looking like on this. See, it's just not quite there going into an earnings report. I don't think I'm going to be interested in that. Oh, we might have something here, guys. Playing with the flat top. I love this setup right here. Just marking that wick high, reject, reject, reject. Well, now right off the earnings, this gaps up and takes out those wicks. So anybody going short off this flat top is out of the money. Now it is the price is extended, so keep that in mind. The price is extended off the lows. We've already are at a double up. But if I was looking at some extensions, just marking that wick low, I think 33 and maybe this top right here is what we're trying to fight over right now. So if we can get over top of 30.75, I think there's a good amount of space to run this up to 33. So just from current price up to 33, that's going to be about 1/11th, one or 11% I meant, and that's how we're going to go from there. So this one actually, I haven't looked at the report. It looks like they are profitable. The year-over-year numbers, uh, increased profitability reported 142, and an increase in revenue as well, and taking out a flat top. I think those are a couple key factors without looking at the earnings report and putting a little bit more due diligence into it. I think the closer you can get it to this flat top, the better. So looking at this first 15-minute candle, I would love to see this trade into the middle of this green candle. So this is potentially something that we could watch right here. So let's put an alert, and maybe we can think about playing this 29.50 level. So let's alert it right before that 29.50. Let's go 29.64. We'll put an alert right there and see if that has anything. Invax, we've talked about the trend line. I mean, obviously it trades a little bit below it there, but holding that trend line and putting in a green candle into some of these shortable levels. So actually, I'd like to see it get rejected, show respect of this trend line, and then whatever the rejection is up here, this will be what I call a neckline break. Now, the nut up or shut up candle will come when we get on top of that neckline break. So this is probably going to take a couple days for me to decipher whether I want to trade it or not. I'm definitely not trading it today, to be clear about that, unless it were to shoot up through 8 or something like that. But that may be a big ask. Looking back over at MULN, we got 2 minutes left in this candle. I just want to see it close above that wick top of the first candle right there. So we still have a little bit of fight left in BABA, continuing that strength. Good Lord. Is it going to push up to that 102? But in terms of these top movers up here, the only one that I'm actually really interested in would be that ramp. Let's go look at G and S. You're getting a fresh positive break on G and S, but you're right into a little bit of resistance as well. So I don't know if I would trade that either. Azul earnings were pre-market, so I don't know what they reported. Possibly good numbers there. Possibly. Odd. We have a channel drawn right here. This was another, I didn't write this name down, but this is a newer IPO. Clear channel. Let's go to some of the other names that we wrote down. MBLY. Let's take a look at it. On the daily chart, it's just a trend line play. Boom, 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 boom. It has a flat top build at 47, so from 39 and sloping up, getting closer and hold on the commodity as well, which is also a hold of the trend line. Let's look at the 15-minute here. It's only up 1.5%. A nice green engulfing candle. You know, if this were to pull in, we could play 39. We could play the wick tops here until like 38.80. But this is also a potential play. So as of right now, 2 potential plays that I'm looking at is ramp. I'm going to write that down. Ramp and MBLY. Let's go to the next name, MO. This is a trendline play, a name that we actually are long, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about this. But the trend line was a little bit yesterday, so just kind of wanting to see, and you can see as we're putting this wick up, you reject this wick low. This is kind of what I was talking about with Invax, where hey, I want to see it make a move into this shortable level up here and reject, respect the trend line, and then this is actually going to be my breakout price, is what I call a nut up or shut up candle if it happened over here. But building that neckline as of right now. But MO I think is worth watching. FFIE. That was another name that we wrote down. Let's take a look at it. Only got 2 points of contact here, but goes on a run, sells off, goes on a run, and now we're building this flat top right here. I like when I see it start building this flat top. So if this, and another part that I do like about this is look at how this respects the gap right there. It gaps up on this day from July 28th to from a Friday to a Monday, runs up where we are saying that it's not set in stone that it is, but this is what we think it is. That it's building this flat top here, and then look at the gap fill buyers yesterday. There was not too much volume yesterday, but getting a gap up. Is there going to be gap fill buyers that are continuing to try and push this back up to that flat top? But you guys know I like playing this middle ground on strength. Strength right around that middle ground could be something there as well. Uh, we had two more names that I wrote down, and I believe they're both trendline names. CIEN, trendline name, up 2.75%, but respects the trend line, builds the neckline. Respect, respect. Now we have a shorter term double bottom right here, where this is actually a nut up or shut up candle for this neckline right here. But I'd say the true nut up or shut up candle comes in as soon as it breaks this neckline. Why do I say that? Is because look at how we gap down from this day, and look at the direct correlation on this wick. So if we get over top of the body of this candle, this could easily catch a bid up to 48, where you're looking for outs. If you're looking at top end of the channel, you know, this could easily rip up the triple digits if this is a legitimate play where not only do we have a neckline break right here. We think this could potentially be a neckline break. The true breakout actually is this confirmed higher or low off this trend line. The true breakout is going to be like a 53, which is over top of this flat top. So if I'm talking about it down here at 42 up to 53, that's already 25%. You guys see what I'm breaking down right here? That doesn't mean it's going to get there. At the end of the day, more stock has to be bought than sold. But let's look over at this ramp, which is still coming back in. We have that alert set in right there. Underneath that 30, we have the open of the next candle. Let's look back over at MULN. MULN wasn't able to close above that wick high right there. So I don't know how I feel about that. If it got underneath this wick low, I'd expect it to come back into that 11-cent range. And that's everything that we're looking at here today, guys. Lumen, really showing a nice green candle through this ascending channel we have drawn. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's see if we can get some more continuation on Lumen. This is going to be one we're holding for this. If this wants to give us a positive break and break higher, I'd be a lot more interested trimming up here. But if I wanted to say, hey, these lows, which is what it kind of rejects right here, we can start and then respect the highs. And if it gets over top of this, maybe one more trim before I'd expect a nice pump. And I'd say this is a long time before this is going to come. It's going to have to work out a lot of kinks, but we want to hold a piece for this $5 gap if it wants to get there somehow. Now that might be a whole year out in advance for all I know. So as long as the strength is there, which it technically isn't right now. Technically it is not there yet. I got to get a drink of water. I'll be right back. So right now I think my two plays that I'm looking at is going to be MBLY. MBLY, ramp, and PAGs. those are going to be the three plays that we're looking at. Pags, was that the one? No, not Pags, but it was close. Which one were we looking at? Was it MBLY? No, which one was it? I'm gonna have to go back until I find it. Sorry guys, I gotta go back until I can find that name because I am not really trying to remember it. CN, yes, CN is a legitimate play that we could be watching and getting closer to that positive strength as well. Let's look at the 15-minute here. You can see it looks like a churner. Look at that neckline break. If you just took it right off that open neckline, fills that gap yesterday on top of it, that one wick. So now with the price over top of that, I would say shorts are partially out of the money right now. C Limited was also another name that we were looking at as a trend line play. You can see the trend line, but strength just isn't quite there. So I want to see it build the neckline, reject these lows over here, come back in, fill this gap. Maybe we can try this if it gets there next week at this 56.20. But those are, so I'd say we add CN to this list, and we will add C Limited to this list. That C Limited is more for next week though. Let's take a look at the top gainers. Alibaba is showing a little bit of rejection. What is the high that we got to? The high is 101.80. So not quite up to that 102.20 gap. Ramp catching a bid. Maybe potentially missing my entry right there. Never alerted me. But had this come back in, this would have been one of the plays that we would have tried off that 29.50. More than likely would have tried it. I can't say for sure. And for all I know, this gets rejected up here and it comes back in. But I'm a little upset that that's not coming back in. MobileEye, a nice take on this candle, and buyers coming in right off that 39 flat level, which is where I said I wanted to start actually. Carl Icahn Fund. Let's look at the daily chart here. You know, these candles actually, when it get a big gap down, leaves a nice green engulfing candle. A lot of times this ends up breaking over top of this high, so call it a 25 break. But I'd say it's going to have to work some levels out from these lows over here. Mark these lows, that's what it's rejecting. Um, Building one for kind of a trade would be Warner Bros. We talked about Warner Bros. Multiple times when it was inside of this wedge pattern. Over the vacation day, we put a nice green candle through that. Now a nice bull flag setting up the continuation. Does that continuation come today? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let's go take a look back at MULN. Still holding these 50 levels right here. We have one print on the name at 1176. Let's see if this can show us some continuation. I know this probably doesn't make too much sense, but the catalyst for this trade was that we broke this downtrend and we were trying to hold that 11-cent range. Pags. A little bit of a wick top right there. But other than that, the list for today is going to be Ramp, MobileEye, CN. Those are the three names we're looking at. So let's go take a look back at Ramp. We really wanted it to come back into that 29.50, so we might have to be patient with that one. MobileEye, showing a wick top, so honestly, we're going to put that alert in near this wick bottom right here, which is 39 flat, where we'll play this flat top if it comes back into it. So I want to be alerted before it gets there so I can see it when it's trading in off this flat top. So MobileEye, number 2, CN is number 3, leaving that wick top. I'd actually like to see this come back into these highs, so call it like a 42 level and maybe average in the middle of this green move. But those are the three moves that we wanted to try. Aside from that, let's take a look back over at Disney and BABA. Disney tried to retrace back into the gap. This 89.50, if it can show the strength to get back atop of 89.55, which is the wick high from Wednesday, over 90 is a big level, and I'm going to show you why. I got to take this call. I'll be right back. Hello? Okay, sorry about that. Freaking spam call. Unbelievable. The level for Disney is if it can get over 90. 90, I think, is a key level, and why is because this is also sort of a neckline break. You see the buyers coming in towards as we're retracing down to this gap. So clear difference, and I like the earnings report. That's just me being honest. I like the earnings report. I think there's a lot of positives there, and I think they're starting to get a step closer to the Disney from 2014 to 2018. Now, if they can do that, I think it's a home run type of long that you have the opportunity of buying right now. My opinion, of course, uh, but I think it has that type of potential. My opinion, of course, it's my opinion. Ramp showing some continuation, playing around with this sort of flat top range right here. Earnings play, not showing a pullback that we want just yet. Take a look at BABA. We do have two candle closes right here, so I would expect some good buying to come in off this 100. And we're already wicking towards it. That's 118. The low of this candle is 120 cents. Good RX. This is what I was talking about on those gap down candles where it leaves that green engulfing. Obviously, this is a 15-minute, but this is building that flat top here at 925, give or take. Plug showing a green candle. It got as high as 64s. I think we're just going to get out of this one right now. There's no way this ended up being a red trade for us as we took off about 90% of the position on the way up, and we said, hey, we'll hold a piece for the dream. We'll give it to the earnings report. Now strength, clear negative break on our earnings. I think it's just time to cut this position, move on, find something else. Plug's not a title name, I understand that, but if you're familiar with the channel, you guys know that we were playing Plug over here as you get that positive strength. The big players are near that middle ground. This is what we were playing, and we had a lot of fun trimming this, getting almost $4 in the money on this name. It's sad to say it, but the plug day is over, and that is an exit of the position. What happens from here, we'll revisit this name another day. If it follows this channel, maybe I'm lucky enough to buy it down here at 6, where I think you have the trend line, and if it holds this low, maybe we can even start the position again off this 8 level. So plug. It sucks taking a little bit of a hit, but that's the risk that I ran trying to hold this as it was still positive right here. But it is what it is. More people wanted to sell after the report, or more shares wanted to be sold after the report. So, I mean, you get the gap down, I got to make a decision, and that's the decision that I made. So looking around, Lumen still getting that continuation. We had this channel that's breaking out, sloping up, getting closer to that positive break. A nice hold of these 160s. A nice move on it. If I didn't just buy this support level yesterday, I think that this would be a reasonable trade. I'm holding it long, but I think it's a reasonable trade if it came into these 180s, the top end of this channel that we had mapped out right there. I think it's reasonable. So do as you wish with that. Baba, this is probably going to take another candle. Are the buyers going to come in the middle of this green move? That's what you're going to want to find out. But, I mean, we're not trading Baba. We're long Baba. We're long Disney. The only one that we're trading is MULN. That was a new position from yesterday. And MULN's still sitting here around this 1150. Let's put an alert in at the bottom break of that wick. so that we can make a decision and see what we want to do with this name if it gets underneath of that. Ramp showing still a little bit of continuation. Let's look back at MBLY. Looking back at MBLY, this is what we wanted to see. We're about to get alerted here. Now, if this pulls back in a little bit further into this green move, we are going to be playing this flat top on MBLY. The big picture for MBLY is we're playing this trend line. Now, maybe it needs to pull back to this trend line one more time. It's going to be on us to try and uh, get this entry. When you're trying to get entries on negative strength, it is a difficult thing to do. It's hard to do, but if you can do it successfully, now I always go back to my forward position. When I first started my forward position, which we're still holding a piece of, by the way, when I first started my forward position, it was on this candle, and we held it all the ways back in, and we bought this gap. It had a beautiful 1125 fill. Sometimes it is hard to get that entry, and it was a really big testify of my resilience holding this support level right here and holding a brand new position against me. What is this percent to the downside? I think my first initial entry was above that wick, so we'll go off of 1180. We held this 4.5% against us, and it ended up being a huge trade as we had multiple outs up above 15. But I do think that I like the earnings report on Ford. This gap fill right here is where we are going to start reloading this position. If it goes lower, the lower it goes, you have the downtrend retest, and possibly this gap fill at 1140 is what we're going to be looking for. But that just goes to I have thousands of examples I can use, but for all I know, I'm starting this at the high, and it needs to come back and retest this trend line. For all I know. But all I know is it has respected this trend line very well. Kind of a nut up or shut up candle. You still have a couple wicks right here that you need to fight through. But going to that 15-minute chart, if you were just looking at a trade, I think this flat top is a legitimate area that you could have some orders off of. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Everything here on this channel is my opinion. I'm just Guy. I cannot guarantee you nothing. But this is one of the names that we've identified for today, and if this alerts us and comes down into this flat top, we are going to make this a new position. And then the other one, CN. CN, we should keep an eye on CN. This looks like it's going to be a slow churner. I wish I was paying attention more. I probably would have tried it right in this candle somewhere. Now, it's easy for me to say that, saying that it's done this. But at the end of the day, this is one that we feel has been holding this trend line like a glove. We have a neckline break right here. We have a potential neckline break right here. We have a potential neckline break right here. And the dream move is a break of this flat top where if it follows this channel, I mean, if it were to get over 53, this could easily rip up to like 100. Easily. Now it could easily break this trend line to the downside and shoot down, but that's where it comes down to. You got to understand the company you're buying. Profitable company, looking at some year-over-year numbers, they're projected $1 billion. That's EPS growth of 18 cents is their projection. You're talking about a growing company that, I don't. Oh, we got alerted on MobileEye. Okay, we might be on to something here. Okay, we got that word on MobileEye right into 28 or 38.90. Let's go get a fill on this name, just an entry level position. And if it pulls down even more, we're going to average in and we're going to run the hard stop underneath of this gap. So I'm already telling myself that, hey, if it comes down into 75s, I'm holding it 40, 50 cents against me. Typed in the ticker wrong. MobileEye. Let's go get our entry fill on the name. And there we have our initial fill. Now let's just give it a little bit of time to breathe. We don't need to be aggressive getting this entry. If it goes lower and goes against us, there is no need to panic here. We have a nice hold. This gap was never filled, so anybody short here off the open saying, hey, I can run it down to the gap, they could be stopped out. They could still be in. But this washout candle right here, and that's what we're talking about. We just want to see that a little bit of buying. We have 10 minutes left in this candle, so by no means does this mean that this is a perfect entry. We really want it down here off of this flat top, which we have marked at 38.81. I'd say you could say 38.84 and 38.80, or maybe even 75s. But there's a lot of different areas right here where we like this, and we're going to try it. So MBLY is going to go down as one of the title names. So I'm going to go back and copy this title and add MBLY to the title. MBLY update. So this is a live trade taken for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's go see exactly where that fill actually came in at. Our fill came in at 38.85, so we're already 13 pennies in the money. It only shows the wick low of 38.88. How many times do you get an entry on something lower than what it shows on the chart? Gotta love it. Gotta love it, guys. Gotta love it. Nicola showing some good strength, coming back in a little bit, but these opening two candles, I would expect some buying pressure in the middle of that green move. Baba, same story. We are expecting buyers in the middle of this green move. Starting off as a green candle, but just not quite there yet. Let's go look over at Disney and MULN. Disney, wicking into the middle of this red move. So even though we want to see it get over 89.50, we're expecting a little bit of resistance for this red candle that it put in right there. Let's go take a look back at MULN. We still haven't got alerted, but showing a nice churn to the upside. Let's go take a look back at MobileEye. MobileEye still sitting in these 90s, 7 minutes left on this candle. But right up to those 39, so this is a pretty good entry that we got right there, I would say. I'm happy with it right now. Let's take a look over at CN. Still a nice slow churn. If it were to come down into like 42 flat, I think we can start that there. MF, we said that, hey, these two red candles are kind of showing us that, hey, we probably should be trading down. We don't really have anything right here. We don't have anything in here at all. But I mean, if it shoots up through, I'd expect resistance on these lows right here, which is right in front of 2. But I think that this also could potentially be showing early signs of and breaking through it right now as we speak, but it still has to close above that. So as of right now, I still think that this could be the catalyst where we need to trade down just a little bit more still. If we miss out on it, we miss out on it. But kind of discrediting what I just put up there for the time being. Oil still at this 84 level. Kazam showing a little bit of a higher low right there. Early signs. Ramp. Baba still catching a little bit of a bid to the upside. Other than that, at any given time, if anybody has something that they want me to take a look at, I will gladly do so. In a heartbeat, I will gladly look at any takers. MobileEye right in off of that 39, right at that 39 flat. A nice wick of buying into the middle of that green candle. That is what we like to see. And wasn't able to get down to that flat top, which is why we wanted to get that entry position. But if it comes down into a little bit lower below our entry, that's actually what we want. We want it to come down into below our entry. That was just a starter level position. So I do not have the size that I want on this position. But if this next candle comes in down to 38.90s, I think we're going to add more there and average up. I'm okay averaging up on this position. Not quite there yet though. $39.05. We're now 20 pennies in the money. FF. This is going to be an earnings report I need to go look back at. We do not hold this position, but I remember the last earnings report that they put back in May. We really liked their earnings report and actually trading right down to the gap fill. So this is kind of like me. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. You wanted it before the last earnings report. We just filled that gap. What are you gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not putting my money where my mouth is. A large red engulfing candle like that, I could try it and run a stop loss underneath of these wick lows right here. Maybe get a trade back up to 8, maybe over 8. But I'm not a fan of this huge red engulfing to the downside. Plug still showing some continuation. That's fine. We're already out of plug. Yesterday's news. This will be the last time I look at it on this live stream. Ramp still showing a little bit of continuation. Baba still needs a little bit of time to work out the kinks. MF showing a little bit of wick into that. That doesn't mean that it can't shoot higher. Good volumes actually starting to pick up into it. Lumen, buyers coming in the middle of the green move. MBLY, we're now 22 pennies in the money. 22 pennies in the money for MBLY. This was a live trade taken for you guys no more than 10 minutes ago. Now, just because it's turned green now doesn't mean that it's out of the woods yet. But 22 pennies in the money for a brand new position. Brand new. MF rejecting, showing that wick top, kind of a washout top. But the catalyst is there for a descending channel to get back down to some of these levels. Because, I mean, I honestly don't even know why it popped from right here. There's nothing but this little shoulder that's working off of, which is also the gap up price right here. So maybe just mark this gap up price. So as soon as it held that 725 or 175, maybe some buyers came in. I don't know. I don't know. I see the potential. There is a decent volume increase on a green engulfing candle, but I just don't think so. And MULN crossing over. Let's go take a look over at MULN. Let's see if some buyers can come in at the gap up level. We do have one print on the MULN play. This wick, leaving that wick followed by a red candle, could be double top. I don't like calling double top just on a couple candles. I like to use double tops more so on dailies. So a daily, so I had this built a U shape and put a double top that was lower and then did this, I would have called that a double top. I would call that a double top right there. I would call that a double top right there. I would call that a double top right there. On a 15-minute chart, am I going to call double top? Probably not. So I don't buy it yet, but it could be. I'm just saying it could be. Some people say that it is. Me, I don't. I don't. I mean, you're still holding this level right here. All it would take is the price to get over top of this, and just like that, boom, you get a nice green candle to the upside, and then it's like, oh, my bad, I was off about this. That's why it wasn't. And it's just like, dude, shut up. Dude, shut up. I hate the people that call double tops off of a 1 minute chart. Where on 1 minute chart they'd be like, oh yeah, double tops in. Yep, hammer to short. Yep, see, I told you I was right. And then it goes and washes that top out, and it's just like, oh, I already made my money on it right here. It's just like, dude, shut up. Pags. Let's go take a look at Pags. Get me off this 1 minute chart. Pags, a nice buyers coming in the middle of this green move. It looks like it was very close to filling that gap at 1040s. At the end of the day, as it got closer to this trend line, buyers are kind of stepping in just a little bit. Just a little bit. They are stepping in a little bit. Oh my gosh, Invax. We said that if it got over 8, Invax has something brewing here. Man, if I would have just punched in right off that open, we said gaps up fills the gap. That's what we said. Gaps up fills the gap. Good Lord, what's this percent move? Man, sometimes I just need to trust my gut. We'd be over $1 in the money, 90 cents in the money, 12%. Oh man, look at that volume increase right there. You're okay, puppy. You're okay. Let's look back at let's get another alert in on MULN there. And just like that, shorters coming in off the middle of this green move or red move to the downside though. And what I mean middle is if I were to take that wick top right there, now I was focused on that price. I have it a little bit left, but you can see that half point is at 11 half. And so there is a little bit of pressure there, but it can work through that, is what I'm telling myself. It can work through that. So let's put an alert back in at this 1128, and if it breaks down those 25s, maybe we can just exit it as a green trade. Baba coming all the ways back in, giving you a stair step look where maybe this needs to be the move, an A, B, C, down to more of this green move. So if I put a retracement from today's price action, that half could be that next level. And then also this is still part of that green move. Where all of these levels right here is where this setting up this kind of bear flag in this. If I went to a 5 minute chart, there's your 3 red candles. Now you're building that frowny face where that could be your catalyst for a move for one more leg down, but that would be your A, B, C. And does it work out some levels and then catch a bid to the upside? That's what I'd be looking for, but this could easily still just hold that 100 level. We should look back at that MBLY. MBLY, we are now 30 pennies in the money. 30 pennies in the money. It was a fresh trade we took for the live stream. Looks like this is actually trying to build a ascending channel like that. So I would expect a slow churn right here. If it cracks this trend line, buyers can still come in down here at this level. But if it were to break over top of this slow tight channel to the upside, your breakout level is wick high, where you could see a green engulfing candle come in and test up to these lows over here, which is 39.50. MF next candle coming in, putting a wick into the top end. So I'm gonna leave this right here just for the time being. Get some water. You're okay, puppy. My dog is just loves being in my personal space. You're okay. You're okay. Let's look at some top movers. Ramp showing that continuation look, setting up this flat top here. Lumen still just breaking higher. Honestly, I could add Lumen to the list, but we've held Lumen for some time now, so I'm not going to do so. FV setting up flat top, maybe a bull flag continuation there is brewing. Geo, I know you guys remember when we were playing this trend line on Geo, right at that 7 level. I'm not going to brag and make it sound like I had perfect entries, but the position's in the green and we're testing this flat top right here. We like the earnings report, got a fresh positive break, actually getting into that overbought area above 100. Top end of the channel up at like 13, which is also a breakout level. But early signs of this U build right here. You see that what I'm saying right there? That's a early sign of a smiley face build. Buy the smiley face, sell the frowny face. Disney catching a bid. We are over top of that 89.50 level. I repeat, we're over top of that 89.50 level. This is a nice green move off of this first candle. Even if it pulled into like this previous high right here called the 89 flat, I would expect buyers. Personal opinion. We still haven't got alerted on MULN. Let's take a look back and showing that look like, hey, people are trying to short this in the middle of this red candle. Let's go look back over at MBLY. Okay, this is what we're all right with this. Let's get rid of this channel. It's kind of discredited there. You could say it's a frowny face, but I would say it's more of a tight channel to the downside, which is gonna mean we have an opportunity to buy more and average more into this position. And they're right into our original entry. I normally don't buy this red candle, but in towards this flat top, we are okay buying this. Let's see if we can see any size on the tape. 2 lots on 86, so nothing crazy. 8 minutes left of this candle. Only 1 lot on 86 and 1 lot on 82. So let's see if we can get this down into those 82s, these 80 range where we have all these lines drawn in. MULN crossing over. Do we just need to exit this MULN position? Trying to hold 25s for the time being. MBLY down into 75s. We are going to get a buy on it right here. Let's go back and look at MBLY. Right into the middle of this green move. We think we have decent support built in there. So let's just try it. My out is going to be below the lows. So we're running a deep stop here. Let's keep looking at the book for this name. Right in the 70s. Yeah, just a little bit more there. Okay, so we got 3 fills on the name. My stop, I have a choice. I can put it below this 38. We're going to go with deep stop 38, 35. So buyers coming in just a little bit there. So let's see where our fills came in at. We got 3 fills. We got 38.85, 38.75 half, and 38.68. So we got the wick low basically as of right now. That doesn't mean that's going to hold, but we're going to run a deep stop and see if this has any weight to it whatsoever. Bob, I gave up that 100 level, like kind of like I called it out, where it was giving that stair step look. You had some shorts coming in the middle of that red move, but the bigger picture is that you still have a healthy green move right here, down to 99.50, or maybe I said 98.50. Let's see. 99.50. 98.50. We're just going to leave these three lines in right here. This is where I'd say you should have some buyers coming on in. Whether it, has to come down a little bit further. Maybe we can use a little bit of time. Let's keep an eye on MULN because we do got to be prepared in case we got to just exit this. We want this to stay as a green trade. Holding 25s for now so this can still build this sort of type of U shape right here. We have 5 minutes left on this candle. Let's go back to that MBLY. Right into this last entry, let's just go ahead and put this stop in now because nice red candle to the downside. Is there going to be anything here? I can see now that we are not getting the buying pressure off of that flat top that I thought. There is still a wick of buying though. So right at our second entry. By no means is this over yet though. I would say you still have a legitimate trend line that it could still be trying to hold, which is why we want to give it down below that closing price from yesterday. But even just wicking into those 65s, which this is what it rejected at the end of the day yesterday. What? My bad. Right there. So I would say, you do have something that could be brewing still. But this is the catalyst we're going on. So it's the one play that we liked. It's not a super volatile mover, but it's going to be more of a swing trade type of play. We can look for still up to that 6 level. So I mean this play right here could still have something brewing. But we do have an alert set in. If it crosses that EMA, then we will get alerted. And just like that plug, it did run up higher, so my out wasn't perfect. But clear weakness in this name, big gap down off the earnings, indecision candle. I would expect this to probably trade down lower, which is why we just wanted to get out of it. We didn't want to even, I said I wasn't going to look back at it again today, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Zila coming all the ways back in. Is there a trend line that's potential buying right here? Is right back into the original entry. Let's buy it and give it this wick low right here. So we are going to try and add back to this position. This is going to be a full reload where we have small size on it. Let's see. Yeah, we got small size. Let's go and add that same size back and put that stop in right away. So Ziwa is a new name for today. This is a reload for something I ran for over $1.50. So I mean, let's try it. And we're gonna put this stop in underneath 465. 465 stop going on in. Yep, I think that looks good. I'm happy with that. MBLY. Nice wick of buying. So our last two fills are in the money now. I shouldn't speak too soon. This is not the greatest looking candle on increased volume either. MF. Decent amount of volume coming into this. There could be something here. I still think you probably have a downtrend like that. Looks like a wedge pattern. There's no legitimate channel build yet. So I would expect this to still be a wedge pattern. Maybe we can set an alert for a breakout over top of the day's high, which 190 comes in right at those lows. So we can watch it a little bit more. I still think it would have some resistance up to like that 193. But not a terrible look. Honestly, it's not a terrible look. Let's go back to that MULN. Oh boy, we're going to be put into a position that maybe we don't want to be in right here. Okay, yep. I think we're getting ready to just go cut this puppy. Underneath of this wick, I think we're going to give it just like 2 seconds. Baba's still holding 100. And we got triggered. Let's give it just a second. We're still in the green. We have the order previewed. We're really being put into this position that we don't want to be in. Or I could give it down to the gap. You could have some sort of trend line here. So giving it down to the gap is an 11. Oh man, decisions. I really wish I cut more on that 1176. But we really thought that, this could be brewing something. Decisions. What are we gonna do? MF coming on in. This is what we wanted to see. Wedge pattern. That's how we've identified it to this point. Ramp. Washout top. Gotta watch out for the washout top. Watch out for the washout top. A little bit of a tongue twister. Hit it though. Can't take that away from me. Hit it pretty good there. CN coming on into this 42. We talked about this 42 level for a potential start. Let's put that alert in and go from there. MULN still wicking towards that level. MBLY. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Underneath all the entries that we have. Wicking into that trend line for now. You still have a bit of strength. So we are in the red on this position. It's not a volatile name though. It's not a super volatile name, so it's really not that big of a loss by any means if we do end up getting stopped out, which is why I feel a little bit more comfortable holding it for a deep stop. Let's go take a look back at Disney. Looks like it wicked up close to that 90. Strong move right there though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the 5th consecutive green candle as we speak right now. I would say over 90 looks juicy. I would be surprised if there wasn't some buyers there waiting for that 90 break. My opinion, of course. Go back over the MULN. MULN. You're really going to put us to the test here. And then Zila. Right in near that entry. MF still holding that level. Baba giving this tight channel look right there to the downside. Geo, a nice strong move. This looks really good. If I wasn't already long off the trend line and a couple breakout areas, I'm not gonna sound like I'm perfect, but I would be interested in this flat top. This is a very good look, especially 2 days after the earnings report. And looking at this daily setup right there, looking at that channel, man, that looks really good. That looks really good. Gap up, leaving that gap right there in the dust is actually a bull setup for a continuation. It doesn't always pan out that way, but it is classified. If it were to close this exact candle that it is right now, this would be classified bullish because of that gap up and continuation. Looking at MULN, MULN came all the ways back into this 11 range. So now at this point, we are just giving it this gap. If it gets below that gap, we're going to be out. We'll take a small hit with only one trim on the name. So, I mean, it is what it is. We said underneath of that wick, though, we should have just cut it, kept it a green trade. But, you know, a part of me just wants to be a little bit risky sometimes, which gets me in trouble. Wicking into that 11 for now. I haven't seen what type of size is on that book. They're at 11, but oh, Disney getting very close to that 90 level. Keep an eye on this bottom right down here. It is right at that 90 level. It tapped it. And we don't actually have the stop in on MobileEye yet, but still holding this trend line. We're in the red on the position. But we do think we have some alright support in here that could get bought up off of. But coming into the green candle right there, and we thought we showed some good patience. We had some good entries that had some buyers, but more people are more selling pressure than buying pressure. Bob, reclaim that 100. So if this is a stair step, it's still gonna have to get over top of the body candle and the wick. So as of right now, we are slightly above those wicks, but still has to fight through the body candle right there. But a nice move off of that 50 test right there. Let's go back to MobileEye. Let's go back to MULN. MULN's still wicking through that. Let's set an alert on MobileEye for those 50s. For the time being, an 11 hold on MULN, just for the time being. For your information, still a green trade. We got an average of 11 flat. Disney right at 90. Wicked above it just a little bit. Is this going to get bullish? There's a 90 break for now. Getting some continuation. And some more continuation. A lot of buyers coming in on that 90 break. Volume increase with 6 minutes left. Look at that volume's already increased. 228K on this candle. Up to 90.25 now. And we got MULN right on deck, right by it here. So MULN holding 11 still. And we got an alert on MobileEye. Coming on in, I'd expect if it tested back down to the wick high, buyers there. And I'd expect buyers here at this 90 level. Personal opinion. Still holding those 90s. MULN holding that trend line. MBLY holding the trend line. CN wicking down right towards that 42. It's a pretty good look. Disney up to 90.20 right there. You see it? MULN testing down into this 11. We have our order ready to go. At current price from market, it is still a green trade, slightly. A little bit of size holding it up at 03. I can't see what's on the book at 11 flat, but I'd expect some good size off 11 flat. And maybe just wick down, fill that gap. So we're going to give it a chance to fill that gap. If it gets underneath those candles right there, maybe we run a deep stop down to 80. Haven't decided yet. Baba's still holding the 100. Lumen continues to catch a bid. Are we going to get up to those twos? Still holding 11s for the time being. I just kind of want to see. We got 1,000 lots on 04 though. That's really not a lot, but still 10,000. Still 100,000 shares, I meant. And continuing the wick, we got 3 minutes left in this candle. Maybe it shows a wick of buying pressure into the back half or back quarter of this candle. And still got a wick of buying off that trend line. So just because my MBLY position's in the red a little bit, I still like this setup. It just might not be ready to go. Looking at the daily candle itself, it's kind of an indecision candle. Is it going to be able to get that continuation higher? I don't know. But still showing a hold for right now. Let's go back and look at MULN. MULN's still holding on tight. Disney. Oh! And that's what buyers coming in looks like on a 90 break that we've been calling out basically. Actually, we originally called out that 89.50. That's why it's marked right there. And said that, hey, all it would take is a 90 break and some buyers to come in. You can take out this high and really start ripping. Beautiful move on Disney. No chance we're selling any part of that position today. We're just going to let that churn to the upside. Maybe we'll think about it up at 100. You're like 100? We're only at 90 right now. Yes, 100. There's 94. There's your gap fill at 100 right there. That's what we're looking for. 100? Yeah, just wait. Just wait. I'll be back. I will be back. Now, I said that this might not be a double top. This right here, maybe we do have a confirmed higher low and a lower high kind of come in. So I really like this trend line to hold right here. Right down to 1102. We have 1,200 lots, so 120,000 shares trying to be bought at 02s. A lot of liquidity going through. It's a tight spread. It's eating through these O2s slowly but surely. Down to 600 lots, 59 or 500 lots, 590 watts. Eating through both sides. This is where the battle's taking place right here. The open of the next candle. Even size on the bid and ask. 700 lots on O2s. 600 lots on the ask at 3. Took out a good chunk of those O3s, and there's your size on O3s. Are the sellers and shorters going to be able to hold that right there? And they were not. So a slight increase right there, but still expecting some pressure into the middle of this red move. So just because it won that small battle right there, does not mean that it's out of the woods. Alibaba showing the continuation of this tight channel. Now getting contact with our 21, and we have our 618, which is lower. But is this going to be able to hold for right now? MBLY, it looks like it is going to end up being a loser for us. Like I said, it's difficult, man. It's difficult finding new positions when you're trying to take breakouts. And MBLY crossover. So we're going to go ahead and put this stop in. 38.30 is where we're going to go put this stop in right now. Make sure MULN's still holding, which it is. 38.30 MBLY stop is going to go on in. The close price comes in at 40s. So we're giving it 10 pennies. So even though, I mean, we really don't lose that much on it. I'm really not that worried about it. It's a small hit on something that really could have worked out for us. Where if we printed it up at 40.43 gap, would have made out better than what my loss is. So given a 1-to-1 was that gap. Next gap fill up at 43.50 was 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Back to the MULN. Now we have the stop loss in. MULN still catching a little bit of a bid. I'm expecting some pressure coming in off of this though. And there's that little bit of a wick right there. There's that pressure for now. I'm still expecting pressure all the ways up to the gap up price. So it's got a lot to fight through still. Geo, this is why I said that was a nut up or shut up candle right there that was coming in as a flat top break. See that? Wick top, wick top, wick top, flat top break. Disney coming all the ways back in the 90. Reasonable. It's respectable to respect that top right there. You got some short-term traders. But a pullback into 90, I would expect a nice, strong move like that. To have some shorts a little bit concerned. Shorts were feeling very good. Now the shorts are not feeling so good. Other than that, I mean, we have the stops on all the names except MULN because I don't like going whole penny stops. So that's why we're watching MULN more. But the Disney and Baba, I mean, they look good for continuation in my eyes. Baba's got a tight channel. Disney looks very good. Just going over the title names real quick. Baba, good buying pressure off that 21, still trading inside of that tight channel. We said, hey, a nice green move. We're expecting buyers to come in the middle of this move. As we got close to those 99 flats, buyers were coming on in. MobileEye, I mean, this stop is probably going to end up getting executed. But holding, we still have the gap for protection. So this gap right here, we have as protection. We're playing the trend line. If it doesn't work out for us, it doesn't work out for us. And the last name that we had was Baba. We just went over Baba and MULN. So, I mean, other than that, if there's any questions, any tickers that anybody wants me to take a look at, I will gladly do so. But I would expect the rest of the stream to just be just waiting. That's all we're going to be doing is waiting. And Baba and Disney, we've already been long for a long time, so we're not trading those physically. We're just analyzing them because they both had earnings reports. MULN, we're in at 11 flat from yesterday. We had some fills above 11. We had some fills below 11. The catalyst for it was, hey, we thought that it was breaking this downtrend and holding above the downtrend. Now we have third point of contact. Are we going to get follow through? For this to test up to 12. We only have one print on it at 1176. It was for 1/16th, and we were on the ask at 95s. We never got 95s, so it's on me for not trimming more right there. But we are going to stay true to this, still slightly in the green. We had a lot of other names that we kind of looked over. We said that CN off of 42 looked pretty good. We still have that alert there, so we could make a new trade. I'd say candle number 3 of this pullback, you have nice increase on a neckline break. Could see some continuation there. So CN, if you guys were looking for something to try, give it a stop. I don't know. You guys have to be your own traders at the end of the day. And then we said Geo was a nice flat top build. I would have traded it live on the stream if I wasn't already playing this trend line and some breaks. But Geo looks very good. I would say this is a couple days off that earnings report. If this channel is anything legit, well, you're getting a nut up or shut up candle right here on a gap up that had no weakness to come down and fill 741. I mean, I would say that looks fairly good as well. We have some top movers that we didn't like, but we did like the ramp setup because it was a flat top break. We never came back into that alert. We can go back and look at it. We said, hey, this flat top break, we missed it off the 2950. If it comes back in, we're going to trade it. Well, this isn't giving us the opportunity there. What else did we have? We had C Limited, which isn't a trade we're looking for today, but one that we were looking to hold the trend line right here. Whether it has any legitimacy or not. We do get the gap fill, so all I'm looking for is a trend line hold. We'll trade this one next week, more than likely. And somehow my 34 is gone. So if you guys got any tickers you want me to take a look at, by all means, I'm in a standstill point right now. So we got our 34 in there. So let's go take a look back at MULN, and this is what we're going to be watching. So MULN still catching a little bit of continuation, but expecting some weakness into this move right here. This red move to the downside, we got very close to that gap fill, didn't quite get there. Let's start with the wick low. Let's start with the wick low. Let's see if we have any short pressure or selling pressure off of that wick low right there, which I would expect, but then we just want to see a trend line hold. That's all we'd be looking for there. Other than that, we can just keep rinsing through these. So Baba still inside the tight channel. Disney, where's Disney? We'll just type it in. Disney. We said, hey, over 89.50. Shorts are going to be a little bit scared, and then we got a true 90 break. Nice green candle on increased volume. Looks very good. I mean, day after earnings, getting a neckline break, testing up to this top right here. I'd expect a little bit of resistance, but if it starts flirting with over that, let's see if there's any big orders off of this 91.30 gap. But after that, I'm going to expect a nice green candle to the upside. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So by no means am I selling anything of the Disney position today. We're letting it ride. What else? MobileEye. Let's go back to that MobileEye position. MobileEye up to 62s. So the orders that we have for today, we had the wick bottom, even lower than the wick bottom right here. We had 38.85s. We were looking at this as a flat top. So as it broke that flat top and was coming back in to test it, we tried it. So we got 85s, we got 75s, and we got 68s right at the bottom of this candle. At the time it was 68s, and our stop, we have the gap fill as protection. Underneath of this gap fill is our out. That's got everybody up to date. I see we got a couple people in. Guys, don't be shy. I'm a very easy person to talk to, and I love to talk about other people's positions. I actually dislike talking about my own positions. I mean, that's what I've signed up for at this point, so that's what we're doing. So if you guys, trust me, I'll give you an unbiased opinion, and I'll tell it to you how I think it's true. But in case you guys like me rinsing through these four positions we got on the title name, by all means stick around. But if this is boring to you, this is what we're doing, and probably uh, going to see this gap get filled on MULN. So we are actually gonna probably lose some money in the process. So if you guys like watching somebody lose money, by all means stick around. But as of right now, we are still in the money on MULN, just so we're clear. Let's just clear this whole chart, re-put in this trend line. So, I mean, the trend line is going to be the out. We can mark the gap. These are the only two things I'm focused on right now. Is this gap fill at 1098 and the trend line. Lumen was a trade from yesterday. Got a clean channel break yesterday or today. We said up to this gap is going to be one of our outs where we have some small trims. So, I mean, I guess we could talk about Lumen a little bit. But just going to respect that gap. I use strength as my indicator of the house. So looking for a positive break on Lumen where the dream move, trim the levels, trim the levels, trim the levels, hold a piece for the dream. Where's your dream? 5 flat. I was a flat bottom break gap down through it. The catalyst that I'm trading this down here is that one day, I don't care if it takes a year, 5 years, 10 years, one day we're looking for it to fill that 5. Now, if it takes 5 years, it would need to convince me that, hey, we do not need to stop on a low break. So if it can trade in the middle of this for 5 years, I will hold this for 5 years for that 5 flat. Of course, we'll have our outs. We're going to trim the gap. We're going to trim the top, maybe trim at the start of the gap some. I mean, if it's up at 4, that's over 100%. So I mean, I'll gladly trim some for 100%. But that dream move is 5 is what we're looking for there. So that's a little bit of what we're looking at. Baba reclaiming 100. Like we said, it's still trading and flirting with a channel break right here. We have a tight channel that we're trading in, respecting that 21, which is right in the middle of that green move. Uh, I mean, I don't even think I need to show a catalyst for Baba, but the true breakout level is going to be this wick high, where we're looking for 118s, and maybe we respect the flat top up here, but over top of 125, we're looking for Baba to run up to that 160 gap, give or take right there. So that is the catalyst that we're looking for with Baba. We have a decent trend line that has been holding. Whether this is anything legit or not, you actually have a parallel channel as well. So that's your catalyst where if this trades inside this channel long enough, that we can get that movement to the top end of the channel. Honestly, I haven't even really looked fully through that. I just skimmed through it because one thing about Baba, it's a very complicated company to understand. There's so many different branches of the company. And the earnings report, looking through the earnings report, I know the Q1's earnings report was, I think, 57 pages long, and that was just the earnings report. That wasn't the investor relations presentation. But if I went and looked at it, I'm gonna go do that on my off screen right now. Baba Investor Relations. I can promise you that this is a very long and complicated earnings report to look through. Now, if you wanted to get it dumbed down a little bit, I would focus on what was the average price that they bought their shares back. Because they have a buyback program, I would want to understand what the average price that they bought their shares was at. I do gotta go back to MULN. I should just put an alert on it. You know, catching a bid. So I'm feeling a little bit better about this. We're on the next candle. It just opened. We still don't think we're out of the woods yet. We're looking for some pressure in the middle of this red move to the downside, where let's just start with this wick bottom right there. You know, even though that's right at my 21, that's not why I'm marking that. You gap up, it tries to retrace down to the gap. You catch a little bit of a bid. Now you take out that bottom. Now you're expecting this support, which didn't really act as much support. You're expecting that support to act as resistance now, but it does have a support level at this 11, which is my average. So I hope that makes sense. Uh, Baba quarterly results. Let's go take a look at and download this document. This document is 29 pages. You know, I'll clap my hands. Clap it up for Baba because only 29 pages to look through is a huge uh, is a huge step in the right direction because every quarter it is a hassle reading those Baba earnings and hard to understand. So let's just go look at and try and find what that average price is that they bought their shares back. I will do that quickly for y'all. Shares repurchased. During the quarter, we repurchased 35.6 million ADS, equivalent to 284 million shares outstanding for 3.1 billion. So we're going to do that calculation right here. And we're going to see the average price that they bought. So they spent 3 point, how much? My bad, I gotta read through it again. USD 3.1 billion, so 3,100,000,000. 3.1 billion divided by how many shares did they buy? Equivalent to ordinary shares or ADSs, so equivalent to 2.5. I believe we're gonna do 284.4 divided by 284.400,000. Nope, that's definitely the wrong calculation. 3,100,000,000. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. 35.6 divided by 35.600,000 right there. They bought their shares back for an average price of $87.07. Every quarter, that is one of the main calculations that I do. So they still have, it'll say how much they have in their repurchase program left. It should say they still have $16.3 billion worth. They just executed 3.1 billion this last quarter. They still have 16.3 billion remaining. I gotta go back to that MULN trade before I, fuck or mess around and get just absolutely destroyed. No, we're good. We're sitting good. So let's pull that calculator back up. They have 16.3 billion right there, divided by current price. We'll go current price for Baba. Current price is, which is giving a clean channel break right there. So if you were going off of everything that I just had marked up right here, you could have tried it right there for an entry, late entry, I should say. But let's divide this by current price. Well, let's go 100 flat. So they can still buy back 163 million shares with their current repurchase program. So that's a little bit of what I like to say. But if you want to go into the EPS growth, I mean, 240 a share. I'm not going to go into the full earnings report, but you guys get the gist. You guys get what I'm trying to show you with that. Got to go. Thanks for all you do. Killer King Kong, I appreciate you tuning in, big dog. I really appreciate it. Um, I do see there's one other person here still. So you know, if the other guy out there, if you have anything that you want me to take a look at, I will gladly take a look at it. No issues. Disney pulling in underneath of this 90 for now, but right off of this 50. The closer you can get that to 50, I'd say is reasonable. Obviously, just my opinion. Uh, but this is a pretty reasonable setup where this is flirting with that nut up or shut up candle. You got a fresh positive break day after earnings. I'd say the out I'm looking for is this 101 gap. Just clear out everything there. Let's go back to that MULN. You know, still holding in strong. So I mean, um, I don't like that wick top. Gives me the feel that hey, we're gonna come down in to this trend line again. But you do have a nice green candle to go off of right there, holding above that gap for now. Just for now. MF, like we said, we're looking at this as a wedge pattern right here. NVAX, this is why we didn't want to rush to this one, just because this is leaving a legitimate wick into those lows right there. I just want to see a trend line hold. So not quite there yet. We're going to be still a little bit patient with that. Ramp, still a strong candle on ramp. Baba, let's all I want to see Baba do today, and there's no way I'm selling any Baba shares today. All I want to see it do is I accidentally cleared my chart. As I want to see it fill this 102 gap. Boom, right there. 102.20 is actually where it's at, give or take. But let's go look back at that MBLY. MBLY, very close to officially filling that gap where our out is going to be underneath the gap. So we got to see if there's going to be any gap fill buyers there. Clearing this chart. This is a tough one. This is a very tough one. It's not very clean. Not very clean whatsoever. CLSK, I got you, Grant Christopher. I got you right here. CLSK, and this sounds familiar. This is crypto related. Somebody brought this to my attention one time. CLSK. Oh, why isn't it on my watch list? Some of this sounds familiar. And I told him at the time that you know, you could try it. I think it was this flat top break is when he was asking. I said, hey, if you're, I would not hold this long term. So I already know a little bit about it, that much about it. I would not hold this as a long term investment, but that does not mean there's not money to be made. You are still holding great strength right here. The big players, in my opinion, are right around this middle ground. So as we came into this middle ground, you do have, I had the trend line right there, but you do have a nice trend line build right here that could actually be some sort of ascending channel. Something like that. Not perfect, of course. Let's clear the whole chart. Nice green candle. Uh, a nice break over the top and fighting through these lows. So if you're going just on strength, let's look at the 15 minute. If I was looking for an entry, when I see a couple green candles like this, I would say your buyers are looking to get in off 6 flat. So with you have a little bit of volume increase, healthy move off the you know, this I might even trade. How about that, Grant? I'll do a live trade for you. If this comes back into the middle of this green move, we'll start at 605. We'll respect 6. We'll respect my 21. We'll run the out right below these wick lows. So I'm going to put an alert at 608 right there. I'd say this, if you're, I don't know if you're long before this. I don't know if you're looking to trade it right now. But this is a pretty clean setup where if I was looking for some exits, if I got this position, you know, you have some wick tops here, but it's fought through these lows. So my first outs I'd look for right up to that 625, 630. But this is a clean candle move. Let's actually just go look through the earnings report. clean trend line right there. A nice clean trend line. That looks very good. Top end of the channel, that's your dream move. Let's see if that meets up with a gap anywhere. Your dream move, probably 12. So we're looking at, it's going to take some time to get there, but if you get the right entry, it would have to crack this trend line before we even thought about that 12, more than likely. But I got the alert in. I think this is a legitimate type of setup right here. And if I did have it, I got it on the watch now. You know, this would have been a beautiful 550 break. It gaps up, doesn't have any weakness to retrace back down to that gap. So a hard stop underneath 5 if you were looking to risk that much. I'm not, because I'm only looking to trade it. But this is a pretty healthy setup, and look at where this 5 goes to. I'm just going to bring this line over. That was the original flat top break. Boom, flat top break. As soon as you break it, look at this. You gap up, you retrace down and test that flat top after it closed above it. Beautiful test of 5. Look at that. And then you get the extension off that 5. Shaved bottom, continuation. If you're holding for strength, you're trimming some levels as it moves up. Pulls right back into the original entry. Beautiful, beautiful. Great find here, Grant. Very nice find. And we are going to trade this if this wants to come back on in. It might not even come back in. We have 4 minutes left in this candle, so I would say this is going to be a pullback candle just because the volume is a little bit light with only 4 minutes left. So I'm looking at, if this is my pull for a bull flag, let's restart from the beginning. Here's your pull for a bull flag. You're looking at 1, 2, 3. What does it do after that third candle? Boom, takes out that top, and then there's your continuation. So if this is another pull right here, I'm looking for 1, 2, 3, right back into this level, where if there is continuation with this, you're going to see it build this little smiley face, this little U shape, and go. Now, for all I know, I don't even get my entry, and we put in a green candle here in this last 3 minutes, but this next candle is going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell me a lot right here. So I'm going to keep that up right there. I got to go look back at MULN real quick. And I'm going to put an alert in on MULN at this 04. Just in case. I'm probably going to need to cancel one out. Yep. I got to cancel something. So let's figure out. Let's get rid of the ramp. Nope, we don't have one. Let's get rid of this MF. So we're going to cancel that. And we're going to put this alert in on MULN so that I can focus up on this CLSK. CLSK. Yeah, anytime, Grant. Anytime you got something you want me to take a look at, I'm more than willing to do so. In a heartbeat. I love it. I love it. It's been a while since I've had somebody even request something in the chat, so I really appreciate that. But until we get alerted, you know, I'll move that alert up to the 610s. So at 610 is what we're looking to maybe get our eyes on it to watch it. Now this candle has turned green. We have 2 minutes left on this candle. If it takes out the high, this you can see that volume is starting to push up just a little bit. So I might not get my entry, but if you already got an entry, I'd say this looks pretty decent, and I like the setup. Let's go look back at the title names. Baba, nice continuation move off of that channel break. Disney, already wicking down towards those 50s. I'd say as close to 50 as you can get it. This looks like a legitimate entry, in my opinion, for a swing trade, not just a day trade. Getting a fresh positive break right there, day after earnings, breaking over top of a neckline. I think you can hold this until your strength goes negative. In my personal opinion, I'm just sharing my opinion here. The other title name, MBLY. This is going to be a loser for us more than likely, but I do see a wick right there. The wick's down to 35, so we do have a gap fill, and we're holding slightly above that gap. So even though we got some red, it's going to be hard fighting through the middle of this red move to the downside, but I'm not giving up on it yet. Until it stops me out, we're going to stick with it. MULN is the last title name that we got, and still holding that trend line. So as long as that's holding that trend line, let's go back to CLSK. This is a nice find you had here. It's a really nice find. And there's 618, volume up to 37K. Last time I looked at it was at 32 on this candle. I'm on a 15 minute. There's 19s. So if this candle does show green to the upside, I would say that the pull has not been formed yet. We are still on the breakout. So as soon as this first red candle comes in, I'm focused on the next three candles. So this could be that red candle. We have 14 seconds to find out here. So 10 seconds for the bulls to keep this momentum going on this move. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see where we open. Are we going to get continuation right away, or are we going to pull back in through this? I'd say obviously those are the two options. It's not going to trade at 6:15 the rest of the day. But I'd say we got to find out here what we're going to do. I do like that we do have a little bit of decreased volume here. So starting off green, I'd say you got a lot of people sitting right here on this 620 break. So we're going to watch this and see if we get this 620 break. Let's restart and see if we got any top movers going on here. Lumen, we are going to go on the ask for this gap fill right here on Lumen. We're just going to go right off 2 flat. So we're going to go at least ring the register on a little bit. And MULN's still holding on strong, so I'm going to get off of that order right there. And we're going to go for Lumen off of 2 flat. We're going to ring the register for some profits. So let's go with a 1/28 trim. A 1/28 trim here off 2 flat. And if that fills, we will take the fill. Ramp still coming back in. Where's that COSK? Right near this breakout level. This is where you can get some continuation. Let's see if we get some follow through. I'm not gonna get my entry, but I'm guessing you're in this, Christopher. So you're doing good right here. This is a really good setup. And even though it's wicking right now, I would expect good buying pressure off of the body candle right there. So 619 to 617. I'd expect buyers to hold that price in. Looks very good. Looking around a little bit. Geo giving a little bit of selling pressure right here. I would still have this flat top marked right there, where this is the price I want to see it hold. No chance for selling any Geo today. Getting a fresh positive break off the earnings, breaking over top of that flat top. So my first outs, we'll think about it. This is a retracement from here. I'd think about it playing in front of this 702. So let's get rid of that. That's probably going to be my first out there. But looking back over here, this is a clean look. Man, this is a good find. Great find. Let's see if we can get some follow through. This should give you a nice churn to the upside. Baba still giving that continuation. Are we going to go fill that? Well, that 102 is what we're looking for. That's the one thing we're looking to check the box on today. Is Baba through 102. Disney holding above 90 right now still, which is above the body. The open price gaps up. It's still holding that price. It looks good. MBLY. Oh boy, we are flirting with danger here. Flirting with danger. Luckily, this isn't really the most volatile play, but I don't like that it's underneath of this gap, and I've already accepted the fact that it's probably going to be a loser. If it gets down to 38.20, we're out, is what it is. Yesterday's news. Lumen, did we get that 2 fill? Did we? Nope, that candle hasn't tapped 2. So once that gets to 2, that is going to ring the register on some shares. Baba catching a little resistance, that's fine. Let's look back at MULN. MULN still holding the trend line, so that's good. That's all we're looking for this to do, is hold the trend line. Looking around. Let's go take a look at some top volume movers. How about that? We haven't done that yet. WeWork Is that what they're called? WeWork. Top volume mover, a nice S formation here where you gap up, you resist, you take out the high, and now retest the gap up price. I'm not going to trade this. Main reason is I like to trade strength. Your strength still negative 20, negative 125. I think that the shorts have control is what I'm saying by that. So even though it's up 33% on the day, it has a pretty solid setup. Um, it's not my interest, but this is meeting up with that 21 right off that original flat top break, but a lot of selling pressure. For this pull formation, I want to see decreasing volume. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't shoot through the highs, but look at where this selling pressure came in at. Here's your gap down. Direct correlation with that gap right at that fill. That's where your volume increase actually comes. So if it were to get over 21, probably something there. Maybe you're looking for some sort of breakout there, but I like trading based off of strength where MULN, it is negative, but if we do catch a bid off these lows, which 11 cent is holding, I'm looking for that positive break. If I can get that early entry before the positive break, then it gives me a lot more comfort holding it for a dream move where, I'm not going to say that the dream move on MULN is up here, but if I'm lucky, that compliance level is one flat. So if it were to get up to that compliance level, maybe they have to do a reverse. They are doing a 9-to-1 reverse split, but the only reason why I even thought about trading MULN. Now bear with me, that might hurt someone's feelings in here, but announce a reverse split company to begin repurchasing stock up to 25 million. There is a thousand differences between MULN and Tesla. Now, if you don't know me, I hate Tesla. I hate Tesla. I own Tesla. I own Tesla in my VT index that I will hold for the rest of my life. And that is all I want to hold in Tesla. I would never own Tesla individually unless I'm trading it. But one main difference that they have is MULN, a terrible company, is willing to buy its stock back. Tesla, no chance Tesla has the nuts to buy its stock back right here because they know themselves that the stock is overvalued. And here's your picture for Tesla. I said over 125, you got something going. Gaps up, never filled the gap. I was on the bid. Right here at 191, gaps up, never fills the gap. Those were the two areas I was ever interested in buying Tesla. Ever. Here's your big picture. If I was looking the short, I would have hammered that short right there. But I think Tesla's coming all the ways back down here. Make fun of me all you want. I think Tesla's coming all the ways back down to the bottom end of this channel. I would buy MULN long term over Tesla long term. Just with that simple fact that MULN is willing to buy their stock back. That's all I need is work with me a little bit as an investor. That's all I want. So for me to play this 11 cent range, that is what I'm looking for. My bad, I lost track. We need to go back to that CLSK. Given a little bit of a wick top. Now I'm not going to say this is a washout top, but anytime when we're at that breakout level and I don't see that continuation, there's one thing that goes in my head is this a washout top? I'm not saying it is yet. I haven't seen anything that states that, hey, we're coming all the ways back into 6. And we still have 7 minutes left on this candle. So a lot of time for this candle to still give that continuation. But that is what I would say is I still like the setup right here. And right, just like that, right up to 621s. And a lot of time left on this candle. So is it going to be a washout top or are we going to get continuation? If I had to guess, I'd say continuation. SNMP up through this 722. I just know this because this was a halter yesterday and we were trying to get 450s. I was on the bid at 450s right here. Halted right here, came on in. We were trying to get 450s. Just missed it. Just missed it. But some continuation here. We had an alert set in after it. We said that if it came back down to this range. Now, why is my 34 keep going away? I don't know why this keeps going away. Yep, nice. And this is why we put this alert back in. We said that, hey, right in near this 5 is where we want to play it. Now up to 720, and potentially we could be watching a breakout here on SNMP. No volume though, so be careful. Be careful. Volume is a big indicator. And that doesn't mean that these last 5 minutes the volume isn't going to start picking up. But even yesterday, this was pretty light volume after it made this move to the upside. And it was a halting name for only 41K volume and a halting name when over here 7 and 10K. Very risky. Very risky. But I will say that this is a pretty decent setup that could also be a flat top. You see, boom, 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 rejected yesterday, put a wick up towards it today. Now we're here right now. So we could see this be a breakout name. Just one to keep on watching. CLSK, Grant, my boy Grant Christopher is in on CLSK. He's getting a breakout candle. Let's see some continuation. Let's see a shoot through 625 right here. That's what we're looking for. Let's see a breakthrough through these 25s. Did I get my fill on Lumen? One penny off of that fill. Getting very close. Let's look back over at Baba. You know, this is why I never take into consideration a double top inside of a day. I guarantee you there's people out there that are like, oh, double top, short it. Oh, you are one ballsy mother. You know what? If you are calling this a double top and you're trying to short this, you better have your outs because this puppy is strong. And you know, I even don't like, I disregard the people that'll look at a 1 minute chart. Let's go to the 1 minute chart and see what it looks at. They'll be looking at this 1 minute chart and they'll be like, oh yeah, double top. Oh man, this is gonna get going. This is gonna fill 102. And they'll see this wick right here. They'll be like, oh, double top. And I'm just like, you are crazy. You are crazy. But I mean, my bad. I'm getting off topic here. Let's go through the title names. I see we have another viewer in here. Again, repeat, if you guys got any tickers you want me to take a look at, by all means, we have alerts in, keeping everything on watch for us. There's Baba we just went into. Disney over top of this 89.50 right here is a double whammy. And what I mean by double whammy is this was yesterday. That runs over to this neckline break from August 1st and July 31st. Day after earnings on a fresh positive break. We're looking for a continuation. We're long and we are not selling. We are holding this puppy. And you know, if it comes back in the 85, I will still be holding. We're long Disney. That's all you need to know about me. But yeah, a beautiful setup. This is everything that I've been looking for, and went through the entire call. Bob Iger, this is the first time I really listened to him talk. Uh, I liked my first thought or first time hearing Iger. I think he has a lot of similarities with somebody that I know, and the somebody I know is not a big name person whatsoever. He's actually borderline just an average guy, just like me. I'm just an average guy. But Bob Iger, I was impressed with the way he presented himself on that call. On top of all the positives on that earnings report, I'm very excited to see how this ends up playing out on Disney. MULN, let's go back to MULN. Still holding this trend line. We're in at 11. We have an alert in case we need to look back to it and think about getting out. We're giving it this trend line. We'll probably give it to below 1090 is what we're gonna run. That we have one out at 76. We were on the ask at 95s, just playing in front of this 12 level. So we're saying that, hey, if it can get back up to this 12, we're gonna play in front of 95s. Good start, but not out of the weeds yet. We marked the bottom wick. Now that we're kind of through it now, it's still gonna have to fight through this wick and the bodies. So this red move to the downside right there, we're expecting some shorts and some selling pressure to be in the middle there. So if I ran a fib tool from top of the move, bottom of the move, where's my half? My half's right there. My 3-1 or my 382 is right there, pretty much right where I marked. So we're gonna need to fight through that before we see anything. MULN, chillin' music. MULN, like I said, like I was just saying right here, it is not out of the weeds yet. All we have working here, and we'll go and talk about CIEN after this. I'm giving it this trend line and the gap up. So we have the gap up And we played this yesterday. I'll give you the catalyst of what I traded it yesterday. We didn't trade it in the move here. We had it marked where we looked at this as a downtrend. Here's your downtrend right here. Oh, my bad. I gotta go back to live. Okay, so here's our downtrend right here. We put on watch when it was up at 12 and we said we watched it come all the ways in. So anytime I'm looking at this as a bull flag, I'm focused on the next three candles after that red one comes in. So 1, 2, 3. That third red candle comes right into 11 and it was on top of this downtrend. So I said, hey, I feel the risk reward here is reasonable. We're going to try it. And normally if I'm playing a position and I see these wicks, so I'm going to mark these 1, 2, 3 wicks right here. I'll mark it with a line. These 3 wicks right here. Normally I would run a stop underneath of that, but because we were broken through this downtrend, some part of me said, hey, we can hold this, and it ends up closing right around that 11. Well, now we get the gap up. We get one trim on the name from that 11 flat. We pull right back into that 11, and now 11's trying to hold. So I'm going to clear the chart, and we're going to put this trend line back in. Now, when I'm looking at a trend line, I'm looking at 3 points of contact. 1, 2, 3. We have our 3 points of contact. I need to see some sort of move where that fourth point of contact, a lot of people are waiting for that fourth point of contact. So if this showed a push up to 12 and then came back into this trend line, I would be willing to say that there's going to be a lot of buyers right there. A lot of times you don't see all that buying pressure come in on that third point. They want to see 3 points first. So there's a bull catalyst, there's a bear catalyst. That's what I would say about it. Uh, but coming on in, you're seeing a little bit of a frowny face right here, where this red move to the downside, these wicks are selling pressure and shorts. But you can see as soon as we got to that trend line right there, you're seeing still a little bit of buying pressure right there, and you're flirting right around that middle ground. If we go to the daily, in my honest opinion, chill and music, my honest opinion is you're still early to the game. This may not be ready to work itself out yet, and I use strength for that. So still at negative 61. Until that goes positive, this is early entries to a breakout move. Where if you get a positive, let's look at the last time MULN went positive. You have a couple fake outs right here, so bear with me. So you have a couple fake outs where this was a fake out right here on this gap up. You have a fake out right here where you gap up and it fakes you out. Now here's a true positive break. Now this positive break doesn't last long, but here's your positive break on this day. We're going to take the price where you gap up and you fill that gap. So if you bought that gap right there, top wick was a 66% move. That is a positive break in my eyes, and your out would be the negative break. So even though the price goes underneath your entry, you're still positive. If you had the audacity to if you had the audacity to hold just because it's still positive, you still would have had a chance to get another trim up to that. So, now that we get our negative break, here's a true negative break. Boom, trend change. See that ABC formation? You also break a trend line. Boom, right there, right at your negative break. So if you were waiting just for positive, where's your positive break? You still haven't got it yet. So if you were going just off of strength, you go from $8.40 and you still haven't entered back in yet, and you're down here at 11 cents. So me taking the entry here at 11 cents is still an early entry in my eyes. 40K on 0.69. I'm not going to say anything negative about that, but that is a prime example of why I use strength. So at 69 cents, let's see where we're at. I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just giving you unbiased opinion. So I'm going to find 69 cents and we're going to mark that. 69 cents right here. So I'm guessing that when you were trying this, you were saying that, hey, we had a move right here and we are putting some wicks into this 69. Let's try it. The big thing that I'll tell you is this strength is still very negative. You aren't even out of that oversold area yet. So one thing that keeps me away from that, and like I said, there's nothing against you. Like nobody's perfect in life. I'm not perfect in life. I make mistakes all the time. But this is where strength saves me a lot. Where if I'm ever buying something for strength like this, I better have damn good conviction that I'm buying a fundamentally sound company. And one company that I've done that with is Disney. We were buying down this 85 level. We had multiple entries on Disney, but I was buying this down here at 85 against strength because I've put my time in, and I have conviction that in my eyes, for a long-term investment, I believe I'm getting fair value for Disney right here. And I'm only using Disney as an example because Disney's in the title. Where I was fully ready for this to trade back down. Where's my gap over here? And I use gap fills for entries. I was fully anticipating holding this all the way down to 71. If this would have broke down 85s, in my eyes, the only reason why stocks go up and down in the short run is because more stock is bought or sold. So if the reason Disney is up right here, we'll look at this candle. The reason Disney is up right here is because more stock was bought off of the book than sold. That's all short-term movement is, in my opinion. I can't give you full conviction that that is legit, but that is what I go off of it. In the short term, if more stock is bought than sold, the price will go up. I do not care what the name is. So I hope that kind of explains that to you a little bit. I bought to average down. I had it at, my bad, there's a heart in the way. I can't see what you said. Let me just type something in the chat so it moves it up a little bit. Okay, I bought the average down, had it at 10 pre-RS. What um you'll have to explain what RS means. What's RS? And I'll go back to MULN, and then I gotta go back to COSK for Chris. So MULN's still holding this 11. I'd say if it's holding this 11, you're still good here, in my opinion. Even though it's giving that frowny face, a red engulfing candle a little bit, kind of flirting with this trend line a little bit. You still have the gap as protection, so this could just give a washout bottom where it wicks right back up. 25 to 1. Okay, stock split. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm on the same page. I could go more into details about this, but if you were the only one in this chat, I'd talk to you about this all day. But COSK, given that washout top, which is fine, I don't think there's anything. I think you have really good support down to the 6, and we got very close to alerting me on the COSK. So if this comes down into like 606, I'm going to trade this with you, Chris, and I'll be right there with you. But Lumen giving me that fill, so I'm ringing the register. Yep, yes sir. Ring the register on Lumen at 2, and I could go right on the ask for this gap fill right here. But this is a strong move. We have strong volume coming in. Even if it has to pull back before it goes, this is a strong candle. If you were looking for a breakout, that breakout of 180 right there above yesterday's high, and you already have volume increase getting close to that positive break. As soon as we get over top of this wick, I'd look at this as sort of a neckline where my next trim levels, and we just got alerted on CLSK, I'll go right back to it. My next trim levels is going to be this resistance right here, and MULN alerted me as well. This resistance right here, and probably these wick bottoms right here. After that, we're looking for a dream move back up to 5. Now, I'm going to go to MULN first because that's one that I'm already in. Still holding 11, so even though it alerted me, I'm going to reinitiate that alert. Let's put that alert off 1102, and hopefully that doesn't alert me for a long time. So still wicking into this trend line. Let's go over the CLSK. CLSK, we're going to go on the bid here at 606. Like I said earlier, CLSK on the bid 606. And for this first fill, I want 606, but if it wants to pull back in lower, we're going to go on the tape all the way down to the 6 flat. I'm tempted to just try a market order. There's actually decent size off these 610s and stacked on that 610 immediately for 55. I'm just rolling through the tape. I don't have a full book. I only have what the current bid and the current ask is. But alerted me just briefly. 608 is a low. I'm going to put this limit order at 608, and we can always average in more. So I'm here with you, Chris. I'm trying to get in on this 608. Did MULN alert me again? No, it didn't. Okay, so that alert's still in. Trendline's still holding. CIEN, let's go take a look over at that real quick, see what it's doing. Intraday gap down. Uh, through my 34, strength is still there. I don't like that wick, the wick top right there. I do like this setup right here, but I'm gonna save this for another day. I do like the little chart setup it has. We go to a weekly, not a perfect channel, but this uptrend is been acting fairly well, and the reason why I have it set like this is because it's still respecting these lows. So if it cracks this trend line, it could easily just wick into that gap. So I do want to be a little patient with that, but if this were to break over these wick highs, there is a lot of potential there. MULN, still holding 11s. Now I'm on the bid for CLSK. I was very, and look at that weekly chart. I didn't even check the weekly chart. So when it breaks this flat top at 5, boom, breaks the flat top. Here's your pole. 1, 2, 3. Here's your fourth weekly, wicking into that 5 flat, and this is the follow through we're getting right now. So if this bull flag wants to pan out, your breakout level is going to be 750. So, man, I missed that entry. I tried. I should have marked. I said that size coming in looked really good. Chris, I think you found a winner right here. Um, this is a really good setup, and I like how the buyers already turned this candle green with 4 minutes left. This should give you increased volume. Uh, if it gets over top of that washout top right there, call it a 625 break. You're gonna get some continuation, in my opinion. I will say, Chris, our chillin' music. You might have missed me say this yesterday. And I know your average isn't the greatest on MULN. I'm not trying to knock you down anymore. But I'm gonna go pull up one thing that I really like, and this was the main reason why I even traded MULN in the first place. Let's go pull up MULN, and I really like this PR. This PR is music to my ears, and actually catching a little bit of a bid. Company to begin repurchasing stock up to 25 million. One of thousands of differences MULN has with Tesla is MULN is actually willing to buy its stock back. I I I couldn't believe it when I read that originally. I said MULN is gonna buy back shares. Get out of here. That's what I said. Tesla, Tesla wouldn't even think about buying its stock back up here at 245. Wouldn't even think about it. You know what Tesla did down here? Tesla is still diluting shares down here. That's hilarious, isn't it? You'd think, oh, Tesla had to have been buying their own stock back down here, right? If they were smart, they would, right? If it was truly properly valued to the company, they'd be buying. They were diluting. I can go show it to you right now. Tesla. And then I'm gonna get back that CLSK, which up at 622. Chris might be getting that breakout he's waiting for. Let's go to the income statement. Let's go to the quarterly. We're going to pull these shares over right here. Here's Tesla. Here's that quarter when it was down there. Diluting shares, diluting shares, diluting shares. Tesla didn't have the nuts to buy its own shares back. MULN is at least attempting to make a difference for its shareholders. That is all I needed to hear to try this 11 on MULN. That's all I needed to hear. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. Let's go back to the chat. I don't know if you're still there, chilling music, but that is one thing that you have holding MULN is that, they're at least attempting to look out for their shareholders just a little bit. Now, for me, if it gets a red engulfing through 11, more than likely I'm going to be out of MULN. But still a nice hold of this 11. And a nice hold that trend line. So now that we have at least a second test of this trend line today, if this price gets over top of 1125, we could see a nice green candle come in, but I can't promise you that it's going to be able to fight. I still think that it's going to have a tough time getting through this red move and the body candle lows right there. So it's going to have a little bit to fight through still. So not out of the woods yet, but a good first step in holding right there. Now CLSK, let's go take a look back at that. Oh boy. I know Chris is feeling pretty good right now. He's got a smile on his face. This is getting close to another leg up where we could see a breakout come on in. Let's go back to the other title names real quick. Disney. Let's go take a look back at Disney. Uh, so makes a run, sells off a little bit. Now it's building this flat top right here. If it breaks over top of these wicks, call it a 90-50 break, I wouldn't be surprised to see this shoot through day's high. Wouldn't be surprised. We're right there right now. 90.49, 90.50. I would not be surprised. You're already seeing the volume increase right there. I wouldn't be surprised to see this shoot through day's high right here. Let's go look at Baba. Baba gave up those 101s. So I'm sure you have those guys that are like, yeah, I told you. I told you this was a double top. They're dancing right now. They're sitting there saying, "Yep, I'm so smart. I told you this was going to be a double top. Just wait. Just wait. It's building this flat top right here, and you're going to see this boom shoot right through it." Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but one thing that I wouldn't do right now is bet against this strength and this setup where you take out this high at 102, the next level is at 105, and you should be getting some nice movement up to that 117 gap. My opinion, of course. But here's your catalyst on top of that is you have a nice, beautiful ascending channel right there where you have people trying to call double tops in one candle right here on strength the day after earnings. You crazy. But top end of the channel, I still think Baba has another 50% in it. My personal opinion, of course. Personal opinion. I'm just a guy. SNMP, given that washout top, got as high as 790. Looks like it came on in pretty good there. I'm just going to put this alert below this wick low. Just for personal reasons, I'm doing that to see what does this do as soon as it takes out this full green candle right there. Would it be a good short? Now, I don't short. If I do short, it would be shorting equity. I wouldn't do it options wise. Just because it's the same volatility to the upside as it is the downside. That's what I would say about it. But CLSK, get the open of the next candle. You still have, I would expect 617, the top of this candle, to hold good support still. Haven't got that breakout yet, Chris, but it's coming soon. We're close. We're close. It's the dandy of a setup. Man, I was on the bid at 608, at 610. Unbelievable. Good find. Good find on the COSK. Let's go take a look back at MULN. Still trading in the range. Let's see it get over 1125. Right in this middle ground on strength still for the day. That's just for the day. But catching a little bit of a bid. 12 minutes left in this candle, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue wicking into that level. But not a half bad setup that's brewing right there. Not half bad at all. I forgot to look back at MBLY. Let's see if we got stopped out of that. And we are stopped out. Man, see, I'm not perfect either, guys. I just took a $32 loss on that. And, it is what it is. We thought maybe we just had the trend line wrong and we should have been playing this 38 level. But now that I took a loss on it, you best believe I'm not going to just YOLO it off this trend line. I would want to see it show some action off of it before I would ever trade this again. But, canceling this out, let me go over why I wanted to trade this today. And you can go back to the original live stream. And we said that we wouldn't be surprised to see this have to test down to this longer term trend line first. And I can show you examples of, trades down, sets a higher low, has to build a neckline, a smaller neckline, and then boom. And the example for that would be CN. Is you see how we build a neckline and now we're building another neckline. Here's a neckline build, here's a neckline build. When we were talking about this as a flat top, we were saying, this came back down and tested the neck or the trend line as well. There's thousands of different examples you can use for it. But all in all, we had to stop out of this one. If it were to come down to this longer term trend line, maybe that 37 level is worth trying to play it. But we thought that we were getting some movement back here for this positive break. Sold off good from the earnings report. and has a flat top build, give or take up to 46. So I was saying that if I'm playing around with it right here, we're looking at a 20% move to that flat top. I wouldn't be surprised if it did it. CLSK still sitting in around this 620, just waiting. Indecision candle, yeah, sellers, yeah, buyers. I think if you get a 625 break, this could potentially break out easily. Um, let's look at Baba. Oh, yep, double tops in. I'm telling you, man, double tops in. Yeah, what a load of crap. Honestly, I would say this has a legitimate uptrend off of just today. And as soon as it takes out this 101.80, I think you're going to see some shorts getting out. The shorts that are trying this. Uh, so this time it worked out. Like I said, you got to be one ballsy, you know what, to try that. My opinion. Let's look back at Disney. Disney, and then we'll go back to MULN. Uh, put in that green candle. Not quite. Not quite. We got 9 minutes left. Let's see if we can see some continuation on this name. But you see this wick came back to test the body candle right here. That's a good sign that buyers are buying the previous high right there. And still holding above 50s right now, 90, 50. Let's go look back at MULN. MULN still wicking into that level. So I'd say we got a couple more candles and we should have our decision on which way this wants to go. But if there's anything else anybody wants to look at, I can, I have it set for the top movers. Now let's say I didn't have anything that I liked on the day. One thing that I do is I have it just adjusts the percentage. We set it once to organize it for top gainers. Now I would scroll through and I would say, okay, MF, see how this is up 14% compared to 10%, 10%, and it does have volume. So the next thing, just because it has a difference, you want to make sure that it has volume. So this would make me at least go click at it. So let's go look at MF, and you can see we're still trading in that wedge pattern. So not quite there yet. But if I wanted to set an alert off of like 85s, that could be a breakout level as it would be breaking that downtrend. So let's do another example. Azul, only 1,000,000 shares, and DWAC, 500,000 shares. So there is some difference in those. So you can go look at both of those. You can see a nice hold of the level. If this were to take out the highs, could see some continuation. DWAC, continuation play. This looks strong. So just seeing that difference in percent right there, uh, is how I find those plays. So let's scroll through a little bit more. No volume. So here's an example. This is up 4.5%, but the volume is only 34K. I'm not interested. VFC 4.25%. It does have 2 million in volume. Let's take a look at it. Look at that strong movement. Taking a flat top break right there. If it pulled back in, maybe this is a legitimate trade. Okay, now that I like what the 15-minute looks like, let's go look at the daily. I can see earnings are already gone. You're taking out some of these wick highs. I'd say a bigger breakout level is going to be that 2050, give or take. 2050. So I mean, not a reasonable set, not a half bad setup right there. And I found it just by looking at strength on the day, comparing it to everything else. OPK, 1.2 million in volume. Let's take a look at it. Looks kind of like a short still. I'd say your breakout level is a 2, so it'd have to get the 2 first. So not quite there yet. Ring RNG, nope. Weakness. I don't wanna do that. BDRX, no volume, nope. CHKP, this is a name that I like. I want to hold this one long term. This is a great long term play if you are okay holding against you. Just because they're buying back stock hand over fist, they have no debt, and as consistent of a company as it gets. If I wanted to share just an example of this real quick, I know you guys want to see me talk about other stuff, so I'll be brief. You want to talk about a fundamentally sound company with a high margin? Here we have Chesapeake. It's a software company. First thing, high margin, profitable, operates at a high level, consistent. Look at this consistent revenue. This is annual, 7, 8, 6, 6, 3, 4, 3, 4, 7. Consistent revenue growth, high margin company. Look at the shares. Boom, 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 boom. That pie is getting smaller every single quarter. We look at the last 2 quarters. That pie is getting smaller every quarter. Boom, 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 boom. So you're getting a high margin company buying back stock hand over fist with consistent revenue growth. Now we got to make sure the debt is fine. We got 1.5 bill on the bank. Long-term liabilities, long-term debt. Where's my long-term debt? Okay, so long-term liabilities, their cash itself covers its long-term liabilities. Check the box there. Cash flow. Let's look at the consistent cash flow. We'll go to an annual consistent cash flow every single year for the since 2014. Look at that consistent cash flow they're bringing in. Ratios, do they invest their money? Return on invested capital, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. You're looking at it. You're looking at the full all-in-one company right there. Yes, it has not moved at all. But eventually, that pie getting smaller every quarter, the high margin, the buying back shares, the low debt, eventually it's going to give. Whether it needs to come down back down to 115 to this trend line or it breaks out. That is what I look for in a legitimate long-term company where I would buy it and I would not even think about selling it. Even if it went 50% against me, I would say, hey, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Take it. That's what I'm looking for in a long-term investment. Now, right now, I'm doing some trading, but I'm long BABA and I'm long Disney. We can go look back at both of those. Disney still holding above that 90.50 for the time being. This is a company I'm probably not selling for a long time. But I mean, that's what I'm looking for in a long-term investment. One, are they going to be here 20 years from now? Two, do they have a competitive advantage in the space that their business is? I would say Disney does. I mean, they've had a strong moat for as long as they've been around. Baba. You know, Baba's complicated to talk about, so I'm not going to go into it. But Baba right in off this trend line. Maybe we do need to test back into these lows here. We got a 34 coming in. Maybe this needs to be sort of like that. Who knows? But I am expecting buyers to be here and test this flat top again. If I'm wrong and we shoot through it, I don't care. I'm long Baba. Come on back down to 94 for all I care. Come on back down to this trend line, down at 85s for all I care. There's your channel. You know, if it comes back down in here, I'm a buyer. If it cracks below that, great. Let's see if it can get back down to this gap fill right here. I'll buy it at 71. That's when you get that high conviction, you know, and I'm not saying that Baba is a super high conviction. I know there's risk over in China. I know there is. Uh, but from what I look at through the financials is I'm okay taking that risk, basically. So let's go look back at MULN. Let's see how that's acting. I haven't been alerted yet. Up at still not above those 22s. It's at 16. Catching a little bit of a bid though. Over 25s looks decent, I would say. CLSK, I forgot about. CLSK still in this middle ground, but you still have this wick of buying coming in, holding it above that previous high. Here's your previous high. This wick of buying is still holding it above that. And it's building this sort of flat top break where if somebody is shorting right here, as soon as we crack these 25s, you know, it still could give that washout top. But I think this looks good for continuation. I really do. This is a strong move off the open. Nice sideways consolidation. Your fourth candle gives you the move through the highs, and now you continue the wick into these highs right there. It's a pretty good look in my opinion. That is all the title names that we got. So again, if you guys got anything you want me to take a look at, I'm gonna take a drink of coffee. And I just got back from vacation, a back-to-back vacation from the Ozarks and Florida. And there was a lot of yelling in the second group. The second vacation, there was a lot of yelling. Everyone was trying to be alpha. So my voice is still on recovery. Honestly, I probably shouldn't even be live streaming if I was trying to keep my voice, because once I get talking, somebody's got to stop me from talking because I'll keep going and going and going. I do got to give a shout out to everyone that's watching right now. This is the most inconsistent amount of viewers I've had since I started live streaming. I've never been able to really hold more than a couple people watching at the same time. So for everyone to still be sitting here listening, that means a lot to me, and I appreciate everyone that's out there listening right now. Not trying to get emotional. Oh boy, and I guarantee I have to go let my dog out right now. He's got to go to the bathroom. I guarantee when I come back, something goes down because my dog has a strange way of just having terrible timing when he has to go outside. Something's going to happen. So, whether you guys are here when I get back or not, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. The live stream's, I'm going to come back. We're going to keep it going, but I got to let my dogs outside, so it's going to be like 5 minutes. I'll be back. Whew, and we are back. Dogs are outside. Hopefully they don't run away. No, I really don't want to end this live stream, but I do have some work that I need to take care of. We'll stay right here for a little bit. We're gonna watch this MULN. We'll see if we can get some breakout here. 13 minutes left on this candle. Let's see if we can get some follow through right here. This is what we want to see. Nearing that breakout. I do got to get some lunch. I got to go to work today in a couple hours. I need to get some food in me and actually start prepping. So again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to call the live stream. I think this is pretty bullish that MULN is catching a bid. Even if it pulled back in down to this trend line, I would expect buyers there. So I am going to end the live stream, but I'll update everything before I go. Disney, strong move, testing this top. I'm sure there's people out there that are saying, oh, double top, it's in. I dare them to, because this is getting ready to break out. I know Baba rejected when I said that, but that's looking good, in my opinion. Baba, we had a trend line set in right here, give or take. I'm expecting buyers to hold that there. Personal opinion. Uh, MBLY, we got stopped out. We're right at where my stop is at. And this is where I'm looking for this to pull back into, where we might try it again. So we took a small hit on MBLY. Is what it is. Is what it is. Uh, but that's everything. CLSK, it hasn't quite given that break yet. But I'm expecting this to take out the highs as well. And maybe I'm just up an ultimate bull, where I think everything's going to take out the high. That just goes to show I don't bet against strength. I think that if I took this same trade right at current price, if I took this same trade on 10 different companies 10 different times, I think I'm going to be right at least 6 of the times. But that's going to call it. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next one tomorrow.